Welcome to Mind the Insight Gap, where everything in digital intelligence is explored.
Welcome everybody to our brand new podcast, Mind the Insight Gap.
I'm so excited to be doing this with you, and I couldn't think of a better person to chat with this about.
Thank you for that. Just to give you everybody a little bit of background of who we are before we get started, I think it would be nice to settle things. My name is Jessica, and I have been touching different parts of the spectrum, and qual, and even working a little bit on the tech side with a little bit of social listening. The intention today is, not only today, but the next episodes, share a little bit of what we have heard around, our expertise, big clients, small clients, different regions, and I think bringing the conversations from everywhere here and open in the comment section, and you can email us or anything, and we will be discussing any subject you want.
Yeah, thanks, Jess. So I'm going to bounce off what you said. My name is Shruti. I'm based out of Mumbai in India, and I have a different background than Jess. Jess is more inclined towards insights, but I've done everything from insights and sales. So I bring together a perspective of where I have done insights, delivered insights. I've spoken to clients about what social listening is like, what consumer insights is like. I've spoken to them about data visualization as well. And I've been doing this for over a decade now. So yeah, so that's that about me. So Mind the Insight Gap for me is where we come and talk about things that we feel is a gap between how we adopt, govern, and implement tools. Because more often than not, we see so many failures. Our tool adoption goes waste, people drop tools, and we actually want to support clients utilize them better. And I think that's a great starting point for us. How do we utilize all the tools better these days? Brand insights is what consumer insights is coming to be, and we will touch upon AI at a later stage. But first come first, the first thing that the big white elephant in the room, how do you budget for it? What is the dollar sign like? What do you think about it, Jess?
We know social listening budgets are very misunderstood. And I want to pause for a second, and I have been thinking about this for a few days, Shruti, and perception drives cost, right? So it's I have heard so many people starting the conversation of budget with procurement, with your boss, with anybody saying, oh, social listening, this is just like searching on Google. Please don't do that. Don't do that. It gives the impression that it's something quick, cheap, easy, right?
Where we actually fail even further back, who is going to be the end user of that tool? We know that marketing teams, consumer insights teams, social media teams, analytics teams require data. But I think where you fail is who's actually going to adopt that data, which is why the budgeting is also going to fail, because you don't know who to talk to about it, right? Do you go to the marketing team?
Yeah.
If you're going to be the POC for a social listening tool, which team are you going to go to? How are you going to get the required budget? Because let's be honest, if you talk about big enterprises, it's pretty expensive to procure such a tool, because the use cases are very different as well. I think the use case and the POC, that conversation needs to be had in the person who's actually trying to instill that technology within the firm. That conversation needs to be had, and then we come to the budgeting. The budgeting will fix itself out when we understand who is going to use it and for what and how.
And sometimes that's really hard too, Shruti, right? Even because it cannot be like a conversation like this, like a I send you a link, let's talk about how you're going to use it. I think so many ideas up in the air because some people don't even understand what they can get out of it. So what do I need? I don't even know what can do, right? And we say about social media listening, but let's be clear, today, these tools are not listening media only. They are doing so much more, right? They are listening to blogs and forums, and they have search, and now they have LLM, and there's so much right now. It's just almost like we have to rebrand the whole category and think about online research. Like everything that is happening online, it's what we are going to try to do research about, behaviors, things that we are explicitly typing, but things that we are recording, sharing a record in a photo.
Yeah.
Anything, right? And we have been to so many webinars, summits, and people talk about very shiny and great projects, but then you start thinking how they got there. Here's kind of the same thing where, yes, that's true. The budget, it's important. How you get all of these people to sit on the table and give me what I need so the tool understands what I want. I think a brief, right? A unified brief with specific questions could help. And I'm talking from the platform side, because if you share just, and we have seen that too now with ChatGPT, the briefs or the conversations they are sharing with sales teams are, and you can confirm this, Shruti, I think they're huge because so many words, like, because you get the idea, you put on ChatGPT, let me send you this nice thing. It's like everything, and people want everything. So let's try to zoom into exactly what we need and try to get a brief from the different teams. It's hard, but I think we'll get a long way when you're talking to your sales, to the tool sales team, let's say.
Yeah. I think you touched upon a very great point about who to brainstorm this with.
Yeah.
And the sales team at any platform would be a great starting point. The sales and the pre-sales team, they'll be a great starting point for this brainstorming.
I think also important when we start thinking about the budget, we have to think what drives costs, right? And in the industry and each platform is being structured differently, and you're gonna see when you get out there and you check a few of them, right? Some of them, what they're offering you unlimited seems like it's not driving costs, but really what they're charging you for. So is the mentions. It's like the, and again, here we might use vocabulary. We also know in social listening, vocabulary tends to be a little bit different, depends on the platform. So when I say mentions, how many times your brand or the keyword that you're inputting brings data, how much of those are, what's a volume, let's say. And some people charge you for the seats, like how many people are going to have access to this, how many dashboards you're going to have. And so the packages tend to be a challenge too, because how you compare is some of them are charging you for one thing, some of the other, what's the value? I think that's complicated and hard to get around. I don't know, Shruti, if in your experience that has been the way. When I'm evaluating, it's like, wow, so what matters, right?
Yeah, I know. I think from my experiences, I think two things definitely matter. One is how responsive the team is to your queries and your brief. The next thing is there is no one tool fits all. So if you already have a budget and you're ready to invest all of your budget in that one tool, I don't think that is the right approach to do it, because every tool has its pluses and minuses. And for you to figure it out, the demo part of it is really important. So now that we have figured out how do we brainstorm with, who do we brainstorm with, how do we get people on the table to actually evaluate a budget, when we look at all of those tools out there, and there's so many great tools out there, what is it that you need to look for in the demo part of it? Because that is what you'd be bringing up to your end users and your budget holders, trying to equate it with the budget and the ROI that they're going to get out of it. Most of it is, of course, operations of sorts, because it's going to give you operational efficiencies. But much above it, how ahead of the curve will it put you in identifying those gaps that you've had between your consumers or between your social media performance and your achieving that end target engagement impressions that you want to. I think those conversations also need to be had. So we have some great points. More than gaining value, I would say it should be not a value proposition, but how do we decimate that value or adopt that value across different stakeholders? While we'll be only speaking to one person, showing them the value, showing the team the value is a completely different picture. And I think being on the other side from a platform, we also need to think that way when a budget holder tells you about the budget. So yeah, I would say like a 70-30 split. If you're a enterprise or a big corporate or a large enterprise and you're investing in a tool, I would say 70% of your budget should be in a big tool. Save 30%, because if you see upgrades that you're really interested in within that tool, you definitely want to have some budget. Or if you see loopholes, you definitely want to have budget to invest in the rest of the tools.
I think actually brings me some memories about, I was once in charge a long time ago to select a tool for my team. Seeing how everything has evolved, Shruti, I think also saving 100% with you, saving some for the flex, having the opportunity to have flexibility for sure. Because before, right, these tools will change every year, every 2 years. And now we are having releases of all sorts. Even the online and the social media and everything is changing so fast. You have to have that room to change. But I also thinking about me selecting the tool, and I remember having like a chart and having on the top like the different tools and on the side the different features, and see like almost putting like a check mark on each one, like this one has this and that, and then the number. I think today, and thinking back, I will also not think so much about the features, because those could be obsolete like in 6 months or not get me to my use case. It will be more about the use case and something that you mentioned, the team, right? Like you talk about response, how quick they are, how they interact with you. I think now, if you ask me if I were doing this today, I will have on the top the brand, the different tools, the brands, and then on the side, if they can address my use cases. So almost like, risk. Are they set up for risk? The team understand, like right now, I don't care if it's through AI, X, Y, and Z or something else, but they understand, and that's let's say maybe a priority for that tool, or it's not a use case that they really care. Do they do audiences? Do they do this and that? And then I know these matches, right? I don't know if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I think that grid that you spoke about is really great, a great point to start off with for especially your demos. And one word that comes to my mind when I think about everything that we do with a demo is value appropriation. We always talk about value proposition, but that's always from the tool side. But I think from the client side, how do you appropriate that value? The demo is where you test the tool. And I have seen so many clients not utilize the demo to the fullest, which I think is a big, big mistake. And which is also the reason why your budget, whatever you think it might be, you're not able to, defend it for what it was, because you've not actually fully explored the tool to appropriate that value and articulate it enough. So demo is, I think, the star here. If there is a tool that is willing to give you a demo, utilize that tool completely.
And I don't think I have seen this, but maybe we can walk into a demo asking them to do it with, let's say we have a budget of 30, 50K, telling them, I have 50K. I want only enable on this demo and set up. Okay. Like don't show me unlimited data, unlimited features. Just show me how it will look like for me, because this is my budget. I really haven't. I don't know, Shruti, you have maybe more experience with these things.
Do you think I've never seen a client? You make a lot of sense, but I've never seen a client say their budget upfront in the first call ever. And I think they have their reasons. Now, another angle that I definitely want to bring here, and I think you're the right person to answer this, is sometimes we only look at it from having a tool, it's self-serve, and that's just it. We never look at the services angle. Who is going to help us? Who's going to look us with who's going, you have the tool, someone is to train you. You're going to have, let's say the tool comes with some 20 hours of training, but you have 100 people to train on. 20 hours is not going to be enough.
I think also goes with how this has evolved, right? Before, when we were getting a tool, it was brand new. We didn't have one before. So now I'll say 80% of the brands or agencies have a tool. So what you're saying of who's going to support this migration, in a lot of cases is a migration of what we have, what we need, or how we have evolved. Also encountering a lot of layoffs in the industry, right? So teams are changing and people that had the expertise in-house are gone. So we need a partner that has services strong enough to walk with us the full journey. And I think here, actually, before we talk in detail about services, because I want to, this is what I call, along with others, hidden costs. So when we talk about budget, in general, we think about dimensions. Maybe we think about very literal about the tech side. Like they have AI agents, like they have all the shiny things, but they are hidden costs. Like there are things that when you just sit and start, it's like, wow, I never thought about that. And I don't know if you have something in mind, but services, actually you do, because services is one. It's a hidden cost.
Yeah.
Because you sometimes assume the tool will give me people to help me make this work. It's how it works. They have to make this function. I think services, time, because people think, hey, we can get up and running in 2 weeks. No way. There's no way.
Yeah.
So setting expectations about the time and how much time this takes, because it's not like Google, like searching on Google. And I think that says how old I am that I search on Google. Maybe I should be searching somewhere else. But you know what I mean? Or ChatGPT, time, and like you said, training. I think services involving not only the insights part of the implementation and training, it's very, very crucial. We also know there are different tools and that have been also through layoffs. And it's not so much about creating, I think, a personal relationship with one person in the tool. But I think if you walk into that call, like you said, with the salespeople, and you see the mindset and the team they have is exactly what you need. You know, even if they go through changes internally, the direction is the one that aligns with yours. Like, yes, these people understand insights or understands crisis management or understands my industry. So I know if they don't have the shiny X, Y, and Z AI agent, or if this person gets fired, they steal the tool for me. They steal the team for me. It's not only about the tool, but the tool plus the person or the group of people behind it.
Yeah. Actually, I don't call them hidden costs. I call them diamond costs. I'll tell you why. So, what I called it diamond costs. I'll tell you why. Because I think the tool is like coal. And once you start implementing it, you just start putting so much pressure on it. And it breaks, it gets into a diamond. And those diamond costs, are actually services which is split into, let's say, implementation, adoption, governance, insights, reporting, just project management, day-to-day project management. What do you think, Jess? I mean, that is a big, big role. Let's say if you are a consumer goods company, you have a certain budget, you have invested in a tool which says it can give you, let's say, risk analytics, trend analysis, and campaign monitoring. You have that across 20 of your brands. Not one, not two, not three, but 20 of your brands. So let's say you have 20 brand managers, you have one consumer insights team, you have a social media team, all of whom might be using different tools, might I say that.
Yeah.
And you
And
have one.
They are.
Yeah, they are, which is, of course, another problem, which is why budgets fail, because you are spending on so many tools without understanding how they connect with each other. And I just want to, plug this in. There are people who can help you connect it, but you need to know that such a thing is possible. So yeah, I call them diamond costs because you do not think of the pressure you're putting on the tool to arrive at these costs. And sometimes there may be 1 diamond, 2 diamond, 3 diamonds, but they are definitely there. Project management, I really have to get your opinion on. Don't you think that is a big role that sometimes both parties, the customer and the tool side, miss out on?
Yes. I thank you for bringing it up. I almost forget the lovely project management. That sometimes is a separate person and team in different tools, but sometimes it's just one of the responsibilities of somebody on the team. But it's crucial because what we were mentioning on different stakeholders, but also if it's a migration, it's like so much things involved. Imagine this. So we have to have a project management. We have to have trainers. Now people are also trying to do trainings with videos. Do you need a video? You don't need a video. What's the stage of that? How do you feel? The languages, right? Your team speaks the languages. Do you have support in which languages for the training? Then we have the implementation, the actual skills to set up the whole thing. The platforms have different Boolean language, or maybe are using AI to build the queries. So how to get around all of that, right? It's super important.
But, before we wrap things up, all that we discussed now are very applicable to large enterprises. But sometimes we have smaller agencies and smaller clients, brands that are just starting out but are high on social media, and they want to understand what's happening online and they look for, such tools. What are your perspectives on what kind of not like a checklist, but what kind of criteria they should keep in mind when they look at a tool, because they anyway won't have so much budget. What are those things that are non-negotiable so that their budget is, kind of like value driven?
I would look at the data. So depends of the use case, so that the data the tool is gonna provide, it's really where the consumers are. So they have official partnership with TikTok or any tool like Twitter, if it's where you want to go because it's more about government or something like that, politics or whatever. I think I will be looking at that. So it doesn't matter the rest of the data for me. Will be more about, do I have the niche that I need to complement my other research? And I will be investing more in services and these people that can maybe lend me a hand on the setup, and maybe that budget could be evolving into me purchasing more tool and less services. But I think I will be looking at that, to be honest, before even thinking about automation or things like that. I think you have to get the person explaining and helping you, grabbing your hand a little bit, and then having the right data in front of you, and then you can move to other lands. I think that would be my reference.
I think data and services are great, but I would also say that if a tool is going to be putting themselves out there, if they're going to say they're going to be self-serve, these clients need to look for such tools which are actually self-serve in terms of even implementation. So let's say the smaller agencies and the smaller brands and the smaller companies who are looking at purchasing such tools which help them do online research. And this, I'm leaving apart, the Claude and all of them. I'm just talking about the SaaS platforms out there. I would say look for something which is actually self-serve. Look for something which is easy to set up. A free-from Boolean is great, but that would also add to your budget of services as well. So look for something which has, simple to add and or not queries. And I would say don't look for historical data, because that actually hits your budget a lot. Right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to say no, I want 5 years of back data, that's just silly. Because what are you going to do with that data? You're just, starting off. You might as well just go 6 months behind or 1 year behind and not hit your budget so hard, because most of the tools are based on mentions. You rather purchase the chatbot that they have, which will help you with analysis, than purchase that back data. So I think that's my perspective.
I love that. It's so true, because we call it the data hoarders. There's people that just want data. Doesn't matter what it is. I just want it. And having, to be honest, 5 years of this type of data, I haven't seen an industry that makes sense. Maybe somebody can prove me wrong, but things evolve so fast. And even the volume, when you have different tools, different sources. So what you're comparing, or the volume you are seeing, half of the sources were not even present. So it's less or it's more, but it's not apples to apples. So is it about what they were saying, but about the volume? I wouldn't do that sort of comparison.
And also, the last point that I would definitely want our listeners to think about is, when you're looking at the contract and you've already had a contract with the previous, such a tool company, don't compare them, because they are, the present contract that you're having, the wordings that they've used, unlimited or anything else, it's very set from their lexicon or their jargon that they have used. Please ask questions. And that would help you even, fight the legal paperwork battle as well. Because it would be very different from what maybe another contract has mentioned in terms of unlimited, So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that. Any last words, Jess?
It has been really interesting, as usual, talking to you about all of this. And I really hope people have enjoyed listening to us. And if you have more questions you would like to discuss, we will be happy to read on the comments. You can contact us. We will leave all the information for you to reach out. And wait for this episode, and have a nice day, Shruti.
Have a nice day, Jess. Thank you, everyone. Enjoyed this episode? Follow, share, subscribe, and see you next time.